We are live for a new episode of the Electrek Podcast. I'm Fred Lambert, your host. And as usual, I'm joined by Seth Winchop, but this time he's coming us live from Cuba. How's communist Cuba, Seth?
It's great.
Before we jump into the show, let me give a quick thank you to today's sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by Climate XChange, a nonpartisan nonprofit working to help states pass effective, equitable climate policies. Sells end on December 8th for its 10th annual EV raffle, where participants have multiple opportunities to win their dream models. Visit carbonraffle.org/Electrek to learn more. You have the link in the show notes. You have the link on the YouTube description, and you have we'll tell you a little bit more about them later on in the show. All right, obviously Thanksgiving weekend, Thanksgiving week, so not that much news coming out. We have only 6 little pieces of news that I wanted to highlight during the podcast, so we're going to do that. And at the end, we're going to have plenty of time to take you guys' questions. It shouldn't be too long of a show this week just because the amount of news. But let's start out with Tesla, as usual. And it's Robotaxi heavy. I mean, that's why I don't like being on the Tesla beat these days. Is just like 90% of the news coming from Tesla is like autonomy stuff. I'm hype about autonomy. Like I think autonomy is coming. I think autonomy is already there. Like Waymo is already at level 4, Mercedes at level 3, and Tesla has the best level 2 out there by far. And maybe someday we'll get to higher levels of that. But when you're just on a Tesla beat all the time, there's not like new vehicle programs being unveiled. There's refreshes with a little improvement, but nothing too crazy. So it's always the Robotaxi stuff, and it's not good news. People they like to say, "Oh, I'm negative all the time," but look at this one. This one is like a pretty fragrant one. We reported on Elon announcing that the Robotaxi will cover 50% of the U.S. population by the end of the year. That was laughable. Like, it's a crazy thing to say. At that time, I listed all the cities he needs to launch to actually cover 50% of the population. I think it was like 26 of the major metropolitan areas in the U.S. It makes no sense. He quickly gave that up and changed it to, and that was like 3 weeks ago. He changed it to 500 Robotaxi in Austin by the end of the year. So 500.
So that wasn't too quick that he gave that up. Took him a little bit to give that up.
Yeah. Between the half the U.S. population and 500, that was probably like 2 months, 2 full months. So that's it's hard to predict the future 2 months at a time. But then he went from 500 this week to now around 60. So it's just the biggest downgrade yet. So the 500 came on the All In podcast, one of the worst possible technology podcasts you can listen to. I've tried my best to listen to it a few times. These guys are completely disconnected from 99% of the population, it feels like. But they are big fans of Elon. They get Elon all the time. They're all in the Trump circle and everything. And in there, he was like, high up on the Robotaxi, on the hype train, 500 by the end of the year. That was last week of October. So it's like, I guess 4 weeks ago now. But this week, he was commenting on a bunch of people in Austin. Austin now said, by the way, is not Robotaxi is completely open to everyone, by the way. So it was a weird thing where Elon claimed that it was open to everyone. Sorry, but it was everyone could download the app on the App Store, but then you would get on a wait list. So it's like not open to everyone. Now there's still a wait list, but apparently everyone gets approved almost automatically. If my understanding, like I'm not obviously in Austin, so I haven't downloaded the app, but everyone can get it. It's just that it's not super useful compared to Waymo and compared especially to Uber or Lyft because the wait times are pretty crazy, and Tesla is calling it a high service demand. So that's the message that pops up if you have to wait like sometimes 20 to 40 minutes to get a car, which if you use Uber, that's not in the. If you have to wait more than 15 minutes for a Uber in the metropolitan area, there's something going on. There's actual high demand. But this is like a day-to-day occurrence for the Tesla Robotaxi. And that's not necessarily because there's high demand. It's just because there's no cars. There's no Robotaxi out there. It started with 12 cars in late June, in July. And then Tesla, a few months later, announced that they doubled the fleet. So the fleet has been estimated to be around 30 cars. There's an actual license plates tracker that's been going on. And the license plates tracker is at right now at 29. So there's 29 license plates for Robotaxi in Austin that have been spotted. Share this stuff instead. And so in doubling it, so Elon was commenting on this high service demand situation, and he said that to address the situation, Tesla's going to double the fleet next month. So next month is obviously December. So that one, by the end of the year, instead of having 500, Tesla should have about 60 or so vehicle if they do indeed double the fleet, as he just stated. And again, that's still with someone in the passenger front seat, a Tesla safety monitor, they call it, with a finger on the kill switch, ready to stop the car. And even with those people in the car, we know that Tesla already had 7 reported accidents with Robotaxi in Austin, and that's again with a very small fleet, not traveling that many miles, a few 100,000 at best. So it crashes at a much higher rate than humans do, even with a human in the car supposedly preventing further accident. So that's the state of Robotaxi right now. And Elon also said that by the end of the year, well, he said that a few months ago now. Again, these predictions changes quite quickly over time. He said that they would remove the safety monitor, and I hope they don't. Like, I know a lot of people interpret my slides with Robotaxi as like, they interpret me saying that they have safety monitor as a slight. It's not a slight on the actual system, because I think they need it. Obviously, they need it from this crash statistic that we've been seeing. It's the only reason I'm mentioning it is that I think it's an important part of this system. If you're going to compare it to Waymo, which is the go-to thing that people do, they compare Tesla and Waymo as the two leader in autonomous vehicles. Well, Waymo's Robotaxi doesn't have a safety monitor. They do when they first launch in a new service area, but when they actually announce we have a Robotaxi service available in X city, which right now is Phoenix, Austin, LA, San Francisco, Atlanta, they don't have those safety monitors anymore. So it's a completely different service. Elon had a big admission also this week regarding Tesla's autonomous effort, and this one is an interesting one. So this one is more about FSD than Robotaxi. So Elon has been teasing a partner for Tesla self-driving, where another automaker would license Tesla's FSD and install the cameras and Tesla's computer inside their cars, and then license the software to Tesla. That's been going on for a while. As early as 2021, he was talking about it, saying that it was preliminary discussions with other automakers about licensing FSD. Then in 2023, he again repeated that. And then in 2024, last year, he stated that he's in serious talks with one major automaker, and there's a good chance that a deal will be signed that year in 2024. Now, obviously, that deal never happened. And earlier this year, we actually had a good idea of who was that automaker. Most likely was Ford, because Jim Farley, Ford's CEO, did comment on talks with Tesla and said that they looked at FSD, but he shut down the idea of integrating it in Ford vehicles, and he even went as far as stating that he believed that Waymo is better, and he sees that for level 4 and up, LiDAR is actually a useful technology. So that hasn't been much talk of Tesla licensing FSD still since then, other than Elon Musk claiming that all other automakers who don't license FSD are doomed. But then this week, he said, I've tried to warn them and even offered to license Tesla FSD, but they don't want it. Crazy, in reference to the. This is the crazy part, said. When Legacy Auto does occasionally reach out, they typically discuss implementing FSD for tiny programs in 5 years with unworkable requirement for Tesla, so pointless.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're not worried about like losing their whole business because Tesla doesn't meet their goals, and the Tesla crashes their cars into some truck or something like that.
Exactly. So what are those unworkable requirements that they're asking? Are they asking for it to work? Are they asking for FSD to live up to its name and be full self-driving? Is that the unworkable requirement that Tesla cannot deliver? Like, that's literally what it sounds like here. It sounds like the other automakers are like, all right, like if you're selling us a full self-driving system, then you need to be responsible for it, and you need to take a fiscal and legal responsibility if something happens, which is what level 4 is, and level 3 to a certain degree within the period of time to switch over from the drivers to the system, or vice versa, I should say. And this is not like crazy talk. Like, obviously, like level 4 Waymo has its own insurance system for that, and they take responsibility at the consumer level. So if this is more, Waymo is a ride-hailing service like Tesla Robotaxi. FSD is a little bit more unique in the sense that that's a lot of Tesla shareholders are holding on to that idea that, oh yeah, but it's in a consumer vehicle. You cannot buy a consumer car that has this kind of capabilities, which is not exactly true, especially in China. In China, a lot of automakers have very similar capabilities now, and some of them are taking responsibility for it. BYD, for example, for its auto park feature, if something happens, they'll cover the cost. And they told me that it happened. Like the people have damaged their car with auto park feature, and BYD covered it. So yeah. This sounds like the unworkable requirements. Tesla just want to sell you FSD, and they want the other automakers to have the same bold approach that Tesla has, which is to, leave everything to the driver. They're responsible for everything. And I think this highlights something that we've talked about before, said, but like a lot of people, especially that are invested in Tesla, think that Tesla has this crazy lead with FSD, because if you compare it to Super Cruise, Blue Cruise, and all that, it's like it has more capabilities. It is more advanced and everything, which I think is fair, but that doesn't necessarily means that Tesla is like way ahead of everybody else. It can also mean that Tesla is super aggressive with the deployment of those systems, and other automakers wouldn't want to deploy a system with the current capabilities that Tesla FSD has, because they see the problem that we're just starting to see right now, with Tesla being literally flooded with lawsuits regarding crashes that where autopilot or FSD were active. I think that's the biggest difference maker, I would think. All right, we are live. I see we have Carl here. We have Skeptic here. We are going to have plenty of time to take you guys' questions, because it's Thanksgiving week. There wasn't that much news to discuss. So if you have a question for us, put it in the comment section below. We're going to have plenty of time to talk about it at the end of the show. We're going to do one more before we talk also about Climate. The last one about FSD and Tesla is, well, not about Tesla. There's one more about Tesla, but FSD, or autonomous efforts at Tesla. There was a strange tweet that Tesla sent out this week about FSD approval in Europe. So that has been a problem for Tesla for a long time. Tesla has sold FSD in Europe as long as it has in North America, but they haven't been able to deploy the more advanced capabilities, like working at an intersection and things like that, because it's not approved in Europe. And that has slowed down FSD adoption quite a bit. And this is one of the most profitable part for Tesla. So the getting that approved has been very important for them. And Elon has talked about it in the past, has put some timelines out there that didn't pan out. But now Tesla this week came out with a long tweet where they basically allege that they're gonna get full approval in February 2026. So it's Tesla. Do I have? Okay, I don't have the full tweet in there, but in the tweet, they basically said that they are working with the RDW, which is the road authorities in the Netherlands. And in the Netherlands, if you do get an exception for your system in the Netherlands and gets approved, then all the other European countries, EU countries, can decide whether they piggyback on that exceptions or not. So that kind of opens the door for the RDW can open the door for Tesla to have FSD approved across Europe. And they've been working on them for a while, and it just didn't pan out until this week. Tesla tweets out, it's like, yeah, they told us that in February, basically, it's going to be approved. But then at the same time, in the tweet where they go about all the different problems with the regulations, for example, some of these regulations are outdated and rule-based. I mean, all regulation is rule-based. Regulation is a rule. Making FSD illegal in that current form. Modifying FSD to make it fully rule compliant would make it unsafe and unusable in many cases. Yeah, like keeping your hands on the steering wheel at all times and keeping attention on the road at all times is just it's not something that Tesla wants to do. So yeah, but in the same tweet, they also ask Tesla owners in Europe to reach out to RDW and tell them how much you want FSD to be approved. So it was kind of contradicting. They were like, yeah, they basically told us we're going to be approved in February. And then, by the way, put a lot of pressure on them to make sure that happens. So I wrote an old article about it. I was like, all right, this sounds like, going in the right direction, everything. Within little seconds of posting this article, RDW sent out a response on their website. And the response was a lot more nuanced than what Tesla said. They basically said Tesla, they didn't tell Tesla that they're going to be approved in February. They said that they agreed, they have established a schedule according to which Tesla is expected to demonstrate in February 2026 that FSD supervised meets the required standard. So it's not changing the standard. It's like Tesla is the one that is going to make FSD work in Europe within their standards by February 2026, or at least that's what they claim. So yeah, both RDW and Tesla are aware of those efforts needed to reach a decision in this matter in February. Whether this timeline will be met is yet to be determined in the coming period. For the RDW, safety is paramount. They also ask people to stop reaching out to them about it. It's like, yeah, I mean, we appreciate your comments, but it's not going to influence our decision. Our decision is purely safety based, which you kind of have to respect that. All right, let's talk a little bit about our friend at the Climate XChange.
All right. Today's episode is brought to you by Climate XChange, a nonpartisan nonprofit working to help states pass effective, equitable climate policies. Sales end on December 8th for their 10th annual EV raffle, where participants have multiple opportunities to win their dream model. This go round, Climate XChange is shaking things up with not one but two raffles. First is the luxury raffle, which Climate XChange has conducted for the past decade. The grand prize winner can choose any EV on the market, fully customized, up to $120,000. New this year, however, the grand prize winner can also choose two EVs, totaling up to $120,000. Also new for this year, annual event is the mini raffle, which the grand prize winner can choose any EV on the market, priced up to $45,000. Luxury raffle tickets are $250 each, and only 5,000 will be sold, while mini raffle tickets are $100 each, and Climate XChange is only selling 3,500 tickets. They've sold just over half of the available tickets, so your chances of winning your dream EV are better than ever. The grand prize drawings will take place on December 2nd, but sales end on December 8th, so don't wait to get your tickets. Visit carbonraffle.org/Electrek to learn more. A big thank you to Climate XChange for sponsoring.
Yeah, it looks like they're about half sold on both raffle here. That's kind of relevant to our current situation right now. You're in a communist country and I'm in a capitalist country. And you have the choice, if you win, to either you get a crazy luxury EV, or you and your neighbor get a less a good one. With your neighbor, probably your family or friend, but still, it's cool. I do like the option.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy here. I'd like just spend a moment like Cuba has that thing where everybody has 50s American cars that they've upgraded, and those are still everywhere. But I'm seeing a lot of Chinese EVs here, like Candy, and I saw a BYD, and I'm seeing some like European stuff. But for the most part, people ride these crazy tuk-tuk type things or motorcycles, and those, I would say, tuk-tuks are about 90% EVs. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the gas is so expensive here, and just other factors make electric really nice. Like the power grid seems to go down like almost every day here. I mean, every day I've been here, it's gone down around 4 or 5 o'clock. And you would think, well, I can't charge my car at 4 or 5 o'clock, but people know when they're going to go down. They can charge it on night, and then they can use it to power their house for a couple hours when the power goes down. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have a strong grid, it's not intuitive that you think that electric vehicles make sense, but they can actually be part of the solution to have a stronger grid too. So that's interesting. All right, one more Tesla news. The Powerwall recall is turning into first step into a class action lawsuit. It was filed in Florida this week. So it was filed as a potential class action lawsuit. It still needs to be approved by a judge, but it has good chances of being approved because this whole thing has been really poorly handled by Tesla. We've discussed it a little bit in the past. So earlier this year, Tesla did recall the I don't think they share the actual number in Australia, but they did recall Powerwall 2s built between 2020 and 2022 in Australia due to a fire risk, and they said there was several fires that happened, and they decided to recall those battery packs. We reported at the time was like, okay, that's strange because it's just happening in Australia, and this Powerwall 2 is the same basically everywhere. I mean, there's a few different modifications, but for the most part, it is the same product with the same batteries. There's you have the gateway for off-grid utilization, or you have the one that you can use for net metering. But anyway, the Powerwall itself, built from 2020 to 2022, was problematic. Fire risk happened, and then we investigated on ourselves. It was like, all right, why is this not happening in the US too? And in the US, we found that there was several fires that also happened with these units. Tesla knew about it. Tesla even had to build a fleet of trailers with equipment in there to be able to remove a Powerwall that is starting or at risk of a thermal event, and drench it in water, flooded water, all within the trailer itself. So they knew this was a problem for a while, and they didn't do a recall. Since 2023, they knew this was a problem. And they didn't do a recall, and there was a 2 months wait between the Australian recall and the US recall. I still haven't seen the Canadian recall. I mean, it's a big problem. But why the class action is happening? It's about the recall itself also having problems, with the main one being that the affected Powerwalls are being discharged remotely. So Tesla is directly taking control of your batteries at home and discharging them, and then keeping them discharged at a very, very low state of charge. And that obviously has effects on you using that product. It becomes mostly useless. It becomes a brick, and that can have financial impact if you're using it for critical off-grid utilization, or if you're using it for net metering. In the Australian recall, there was a mention that Tesla is considering compensating people for that period of time where the system is bricked. So not even doing it, just considering it. So basically, this lawsuit, this class action, is aiming to have full compensation for that, because it does make sense that Tesla would compensate. The lawsuit is mentioning that some people are weeks or months without working Powerwalls. You do get, I mean, for one of the things so far, at least you do get an upgrade to Powerwall 3. Now, how big of an upgrade that is, though, is like, does it compensate for the loss of capacity for weeks or months at a time? I wouldn't say so, because your system is designed for you, and like the Powerwall 2s that you have should work with your system, and you probably got one or you got two if you needed the power needs more, but the energy side of things is not different with Powerwall 3. So you don't get more power, you don't get more energy, it doesn't last off grid for a longer period of time. You just have a higher power output per Powerwall. So unless you plan to expand your system with like Powerwall 3 has an option for one that doesn't have an inverter in them, so it's like cheaper to just attach. But then again, so it only makes sense if you want to expand the system, really. Other than that, it's a net loss for everyone that has to replace them. And yeah, I mean, we know it's a big endeavor. Like, it's 10,000 Powerwalls in the US. We don't know how many in Australia. It could be as much, if not more, because there's a very high penetration of home energy storage and solar in Australia. So probably a bunch in Canada that needs to be replaced. Some in Europe, even though Tesla was slower to develop the Powerwall market in Europe. So maybe fewer 20 to 2022 model years in there. But still, it's going to be a lot of Powerwalls to remove and replace with Powerwall 3s. And in the meantime, a lot of people are just, they want to be compensated. And I think that's just fair. It's sad that people have to do that. Like have to go to court. Just Tesla should just do the right thing here. But again, with what I've described before that, it looks like they haven't done the right thing with this whole thing starts to finish.
It seems like a no-brainer. And also, like, they know exactly where all those Powerwalls are. They have them all online. They know exactly, like, it seems like, hey guys, like, this is a significant problem, especially if people have like life support systems that are on Tesla backup or something like that. Like why set themselves up for really catastrophic problem? It seems like, okay, just do the right thing.
Yeah, also inform them. A lot of people were informed from like my article, and then looking at their Powerwall, and they're like, hey, it's been discharged. Like I didn't see like a notification for it or anything like that. So yeah, just talk to people. That's a good first step. All right, 2 more news articles, and then we can take you guys' question. If you have any question for us, put them in the comment section right now. It's going to be just a few minutes. So now we have all the details on the Mercedes-Benz CLA EV. Pricing and range have been released, and it's impressive. It's an interesting price range and interesting range itself. So the 2026 CLA 250 plus with EQ technology, so that's the electric version, starts at $47,250 with an 85 kilowatt hour battery pack. For 374 miles of range on a full charge. So that's pretty good. And then you have the 350 Formatic for the all-wheel drive system. Do we have the range on this one? Here. The Formatic, the range dropped down to 212 miles of range, which is still good. And for the bigger powertrain, it just costs you $2,000 more. So it's not the end of the world either. $2,550, $2,500 more. Deliveries are starting next month. What else are there interesting details about? I mean, we already seen the car, so a lot of the features here we know about already. Am I off? Am I not on the show anymore, Seth? Does something happen? Oh, we're back. Can you hear me, Seth?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so a lot of people are now comparing it to like Model 3. This is getting into like the premium Model 3 range stuff. It's a very similar range, even higher on the rear-wheel drive system. Because the premium is 40, start at 42,000, so it's a little bit more expensive, but you get a little bit more range, and you get a Mercedes instead of a Tesla. You get 800-volt system too. You get 320 kilowatt DC charging, so that's also better.
It's a pretty compelling vehicle. I mean,
Mhm.
I think this is like Mercedes maturing into an electric vehicle maker.
Yeah, that's a
The
fair point.
the earliest stuff was, kind of slapping batteries on a different platform, but this kind of feels like another generation forward.
Mm-hmm. The fake grill is the thing that like pisses me most about it. Like it's just the rest of the design. I think it's one of their better ones.
Mm-hmm.
But for the electric vehicles, I mean. But yeah, the fake grill is, and well, that's all their vehicles, but also like their giant logo now. They're putting the logo so big is like kind of obnoxious too.
Yeah, it almost looks like a fan, like like they
A
have
propeller,
a radiator fan or something. Yeah.
mm-hmm. Like a plain propeller in the front.
Yeah.
All right, Bollinger is dead.
Again,
Probably for good. this time, probably because it's not the first time that it went on there, or at least like kind of scaled back quite a bit. So Bollinger, for those who don't remember, like we used, it was one of the first like EV startup that we covered a little bit more because it was interesting. It was, first of all, it was a truck, so they were early in trying to make an electric truck, and they were using they were the Cybertruck before the Cybertruck, where they were like clean lines, flat panels, as simple as possible. Even though Cybertruck is not necessarily simple in some ways with the apex of the roof and all that, but they had this idea of making like just a rugged, simple vehicle that's all electric. But they raised some money. The effort didn't go nowhere, and then they ended up having to be acquired by Moulin, which is kind of it's kind of the, well, in French we have something that we call a fourre-tout, or a cabinet fourre-tout. You know that drawer in your kitchen that you put like everything in it, like all the stuff. Yeah, do you have that at your house, like a kitchen cabinet that you just, it's a drawer that you have like everything in it, like a bunch of different things. Like Moulin is that for electrification. Like they just have all the reject stuff that no one else wants, and they try to sell it to people. that has been their business model, and it has not been a successful one. It's been like a cash incinerator, and they've been like a dilution machine too on the public market. And Bollinger was kind of like one of their more serious effort. And when the junk drawer, thank you, Skeptic.
yes,
Junk is a junk drawer of the electric vehicle world. And but now they missed the last two payment cycle for the employees, and they sent out an internal email saying that they officially closed the doors now. That's starting November 21st. And the CEO of Bollinger and Moulin, the parent company, David Michery, who I would classify as CEO of the junk drawer, is said that he's going to make it right to those employees that weren't paid in the last two cycles, but it's not clear how that's going to happen. So we're sorry for everyone at Bollinger. Yeah, they did transition to these commercial trucks later on, and that's. We had the company too in Quebec here, Lion, that did that unsuccessfully. It's hard to compete in that market, but I really like their consumer design for the vehicle. Like now, I feel like Scout is kind of the one that's like taking over this specific segment, and I like Scout. They're doing some good stuff.
Yeah, I like Scout too. I think they're doing. They're getting excitement from not just the EV crowd, like the old time. International harvester people, but also the gas crowd. They have the gas option. So Look forward
And
to
the
seeing what
EV
Scout
purists
brings.
are kind of like having a tough time with the gas option, but like let's be fair here. Like their range without it is 350 miles. They have a
Right.
very decent range all electric, and you can get all electric option. And if you want the generator option on top of it, fine. And it boosts the range to like 500 miles or so, which is not that crazy either.
All right,
All right,
just
let's
so you know,
jump
I might get
to the
kicked out of here in a second. So
Oh yeah, okay.
yeah. All right. I think it's time to seriously entertain the concern that Tesla is destined to fail. It's one thing to describe their cash revenue reserves, making them too big to flush to fail. I don't know what the point is there.
I mean,
All right.
fail completely would be hard for Tesla to fail completely at this point, because they're not burning that much cash on the AI stuff. Like that's the thing. Like Elon keeps saying that it's an AI and robot company, but they are not spending billions of dollars on AI like Meta and Google and all that. So it's marketing more than anything else.
So just some kind of show notes. Are you streaming both as a short and regular video this week? I'm seeing 2 ongoing streams and it's hurting my brain. We are now, our software StreamYard posts something that's easier to look at on the phone. So if you're on the phone on YouTube, you'll see a phone version. If you're on desktop, you can pick a desktop version. Hopefully that's helpful for some people.
Is that just on YouTube that people have that option? Or?
I think it's YouTube, maybe Facebook. I don't know. We'll have to look. But YouTube's our primary place. So, but like a shark tank that must swim to survive, their overhead could crush them if this continue to fail trend isn't corrected. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's true that like a car business can go under very fast, even if it look healthy, and then your demand just crash. It's expensive to maintain. So there is this chance, but Tesla's demand has been slowly declining. But like I think it's gonna bottom out probably soon in most market except China. China probably gonna be squeezed out much lower within the next 3 or 4 years. But it's not end of the world. It's just like Tesla is probably realistically like $100 billion automaker and maybe $100 billion energy storage company, and then that's like a fifth of the current market cap. Well, less than that, probably like an eighth or something.
Yeah. All right. Some holiday news, perhaps. Skeptic got an email today from Tesla saying that they're selling a Tesla bot action figure.
Yeah,
there we go.
So
you might have to revise your estimate upwards because they're selling action figures now.
Big market, like Mattel, watch out.
Now that the real Robotaxi services are coming online, I think it's going to be a wake-up call for all the pumpers who have been claiming it'll be infinity money glitch.
That's what I've been waiting for a bit. Like, Waymo cannot scale. Like they are launching in like 8 new cities in the next 6 months or so. Like they can clearly scale. But I don't know. I think. I'm not sure that's going to happen. I think Elon it's a cult at the core of it. It's a cult, and they're going to find excuses not to believe this for the longest period of time. I think the real impact is going to actually happen when they do solve self-driving. I think that's where people are gonna reverse on Tesla, where they're gonna, Tesla's gonna solve it, and there's already gonna be plenty of competitor in the market, and then there's going to be a race downward for pricing, and it's going to be a commodity, and it's all going to be about cost per mile, and the profit margin are not going to be crazy on this, and it's just not as big of a market and a profitable opportunity as most people think. Robotaxi, it's cool, has a lot of opportunity to reduce crashes, save lives, but in terms of actual like money maker, it's not as crazy as people think.
All right. In 2019, I caught a ride to a local EV meeting in a new owner's Model 3. He was so convinced his car was going to make him money as a robotaxi. How many disenchanted owners got defrauded by Musk fibs? I don't know. Yeah, a lot. I don't know if I really bought into that, but I thought it was like a nice perk, nice possibility. And there's probably a lot of people in that camp as well. Like,
Yeah.
you know, might be
Or
good.
people also thought, like myself, I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon, but at least Tesla's gonna upgrade my computer, and I'm gonna like a
Yeah.
new computer and the whole car and everything like that. And that's so the bigger impact was like realizing that you shouldn't believe what Elon tells you about making things right, because it's not his priority. Making
Yeah.
things right.
All right, let's switch gears to Aptera. Any new takes on Aptera now that looks like they're finally making a bit of progress toward assembling potentially dozens of vehicles?
Yeah, I've seen they have a few bodies now. They have a few battery pack. So things seems to me advancing into like maybe a larger test fleet to validate both the production process, but also the production units. So it looks like they're doing like a little run of pre-production vehicles. The stock has been somewhat holding too, so that's good. I mean, I haven't checked it in a little bit. Let me get a little price check on Aptera just for fun here. SEV on the stock market 548, so it's up 6% after hours. Makes no sense. Like these low volatility, low volume stock, $150 million market cap. So look, I wouldn't recommend buying the stock necessarily. It's because they're gonna need more money, and they need to sell stocks to make more money, and they can do that up to $75 million right now, and they're probably gonna need all of that. And right now, that's half of their market cap, so that's a 50% dilution rate. It's not good for the stock, but it does mean that they might be able to actually get the money to produce a few of these. And if they may do it right, people would probably like them, because I think it's a very interesting product. And maybe they can ramp up production to, I don't think there's a market for like 40,000 of those a year, but 10 to 12,000 a year, and that's a pretty decent vehicle program. And then they can sell their solar technology to other companies, especially trucks, trailers and things like that. It would make a ton of sense. But this is a long-term scenario here.
All right, moving on. From the YouTube, I've seen 14.2 looks like a breakthrough, full self-driving that started the March of Nines. The main issue left seems to be the last few feet, like parking and some navigation. I would say from YouTube videos, you're not getting the full picture. You'll know something big is happening when Tesla starts publishing results, when normal people start having a good experience, and maybe that'll happen. But we'll need to see that from regular drivers.
And I would argue that the March of 9 started before that. Like as soon as you were like feature complete, that was Elon's term. That's when the March of 9 starts. So you have all the features that can bring you from A to B, door to door, parking to parking. That's when the March of 9 starts. And so it's been going on for a while, but it takes a long time. Like I think even Cupperty said that when he was at Tesla in 2022, I think he left in 2022. He said like they got like a few nines in already. There's a lot more to go.
Yeah. All right. With grid instability and climate chaos across the globe, bidirectional charging is garnering greater use. Is there one manufacturer leading in this category? I wouldn't say necessarily one. I mean, in the U.S., like every Chevrolet and GM car made now, has bidirectional capability.
Not with the protocol, though. Not with the open protocol. So you absolutely need to have GMs. They actually detect if you use something else than their own thing. So
yeah,
that's the. I think they should. I think they should be like everyone should be on the open protocol, and then you buy your electric car. It's yours. You can use it as you want. It's your battery pack. Use it like you want. So that's the advantage. So, but you're right. I think most not all automakers are on board with it. I just think that they all need to get on board with the open protocol now, which I think is going to happen in the next few years.
Yeah, I mean, consumers are going to demand it. Like, if it doesn't do that, I'll go get another car. It's like CarPlay. All right, Musk painted Tesla into a corner because he overhyped FSD, then removed sensors that would have gotten it closer to 100% safe driving. He simplified ADAS to sell it easily, but that plan backfired. That's
cost cutting is a big thing. Like
yeah.
Elon loves cost cutting. They remove everything from these cars, and FSD was not spared from the cost-cutting effort. So there's some truth to that. But yeah, I think the first part of Dean's comment is the one that makes the most sense, and the one that I've been hammering the most is that FSD is great in a vacuum on its own. It's like it's an incredible product.
All right, Reflect the Sun says we are
Is the
losing
marketing
Earth's-
around it. Sorry, I think we
sorry.
lagged down for a second. Yeah, I was saying that the main problem is that you have to compare it to its name and compare it to what this Elon has been selling it as, which it's going to become a full self-driving system. As soon as you start comparing it to that, then it's the worst product ever.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Reflecting the Sun says we are losing Earth's albedo, getting darker at a rapid pace, absorbing more energy. Earth's energy imbalance has doubled in 20 years. Can we paint all cars with a highly reflective paint to offset? I think that the idea there is that Earth is less reflective when a city is built versus like plants, which cover most of the Earth. When you build pavement or whatever, it's darker. And even more importantly, like as the ice caps kind of recede, that snow is replaced by darker stuff, which is way less reflective. It absorbs more heat. I don't know what you do. You paint everything white. That's what you got to do.
I don't think cars are a big part of that, though, are they? Like
No,
volume of cars? No.
Yeah, I mean, paint the roads white. That would be way more effective and cheaper.
Probably, yeah.
Happy holidays. Question for Seth. Did you see solar panels or had the chance to talk with local about it? Sorry if you already discussed this since I just started watching halfway through. Yeah, I did see a ton of solar panels, but they're, very bespoke. There's, where I'm in Cuba right now, power outages almost every day. And obviously lots of sun. There's also lots of wind at the moment. So, you would expect to see some wind power as well. But mostly just solar panels. You see like 4 or 5 on a house, kind of just wired up, homemade style. I'm in Havana mostly, so it's more of an urban. People don't have them in their yards, but they're just hanging out on the roofs, and that that'll power your bike for a day, so you're getting free electricity. I think I don't want to call this the third world because there is quite a bit of education here and everything, but I think poorer countries are starting to really feel the solar panels, electric vehicles. Like you don't have to pay anybody for transportation, so that's nice.
Your own power plant.
Yep. They're requiring our Powerwall 2s to be at 80% state of charge unless you override it every 72 hours, not what was described to us when we bought them. Is that the what's happening?
I've seen worse than that. I've seen like lower, like no more than 12%. I see some of them being discharged completely. So if that's is related to the recall, that's actually in one of the better situations. But you're still right. It's still not fair. You should be able to use them however you want.
All right, so it's nice to see Mercedes build a truly competitive BEV sedan. Competition breeds innovation. Yeah, man, I'm really like kind of pumped about this car. Like it's very tempting. It's not crazy expensive, for Mercedes. It's got all the specs you'd like. It's really built well. I don't know. It's very tempting. All right. A few episodes ago, someone asked about corrosion prevention in EVs. I was just looking at the Polestar website, and they're advertising a 12-year corrosion guarantee. What do you think about corrosion in EVs?
Yeah, I mean, for Tesla, it was a big problem at first. Like a lot of people were concerned about, especially here in Quebec. We have tough winters, a lot of snow. We're not too big on salt here, at least. Like some places they use a lot of salt for their. But I mean, we still do. But I think most like municipalities prefer like sand and little rocks. So yeah. Yeah, you have to. It's a decision that you have to make. If you're buying a new car, if you want to for it to retain its value for a longer period of time, you should treat it there's anti-corrosion corrosion prevention system, clear coat too that helps. There's a lot of things you can do to help on that front. And if you're buying a more expensive, so that's the main thing. Like corrosion, you're gonna have it on non-electric vehicles too. It's just EVs can be a little bit different. There's like a few things. Like with the Tesla, one of the things that happens, like behind the wheels, the torque is so crazy for not a lot of electric cars are these days, but Tesla was like one of the early ones, so people didn't really realize that. But you will kick off a lot of stuff, including that salt, including that things that if it ends up on your chassis will create corrosion. That will kick up a lot faster. So just that alone can be a big factor. So it's not really the way that you build EVs that is more likely to end up in corrosion. It's just some little factors like that you can address. Like I just put these mud flaps behind my wheels, and that helped a ton to prevent corrosion in the back of the wheel. So that's a main one. I didn't actually get mine clear coated. Did you get yours clear coated? No. We had a sponsor for a while that did that. Maybe we should have asked for that. But mine looks pretty good. It's 2018 Model 3 performance, and it still has very minimal corrosion on it. So not 12 years. 12 years actually pretty good, and good on Polestar to offer that. All right. That's pretty much it for us this week. We're going to let Seth go before he gets kicked out of the restaurant and go back to enjoy beautiful Cuba. It's still the sun is out there where it's super dark right now. All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening to the show this week. Thanks to Climate XChange for sponsoring the show. And we're going to see you same time, same place next week. Have a good one. Bye.